everyone. Welcome to the M&M Podcast.
Hey, hey, hey.
Skittles.
Hey,
Hey, hey, hey. It's me on my yo-yo.
Skittles podcast.
Skittles podcast?
Yes.
The M&M podcast.
Oh, tee-hee.
God damn it. So, with that out of the fucking way,
So, before we get started on anything, I wanted to save this. Since tomorrow is your birthday. Sorry for the crude wrapping, but
you
here's...
didn't have to get me anything.
I know I didn't have to. Now shut up and open it.
Okay. Get that. Oh, dude, that's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
It's a Mutant Mayhem where he's holding a fucking skateboard.
Oh, yeah,
That's cool as shit. Oh, dude, thank you!
Of course.
If this table wasn't in the way, I'd hug you. Dude, thank you.
No
It's
problem.
an awesome steelbook of Army of Darkness with all 3 cuts on it that he was talking about to me on Friday night.
Yep.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you
Thank
too, bud.
You. I really appreciate that.
Now, like, when James was setting up this mod, and I saw that, I'm like, that has Seth written all over it.
Yeah, that is really cool. It's like holographic,
Mhm.
and it's Raphael holding a skateboard, and
Couldn't think of anything
that's
more fitting.
I will hang that right above the Ninja Turtle shelf, and that. Thank you.
You're
I really
welcome.
appreciate that. And this, I will look forward to. Now I can, when we go to the flea market, I can take the Blu-ray copy of Army of Darkness with me. It's kind of fitting that this is the only 4K Evil Dead movie that I have.
Yeah.
It's Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Because you guys would give me shit for that
Yeah.
being my favorite one.
I mean,
forever.
I see why Army of Darkness is a lot of people's favorites, but I don't know.
Evil Dead 2 is the better. It's like Return of the Jedi and
Yeah.
Empire. Like,
Yeah.
New Hope.
It's
New Hope and Empire always go back and forth with
to me, it's like Toy Story, where it's like if you say 1 through 3, I'm not gonna care.
You like episode 2 over episode 5. You told me that the other day.
Oh yeah, I said ha 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 ha. It's funny.
Is that Seth? I think that's Seth's like doppelganger saying that, because I don't think the real Seth would ever say episode 2 is better than Empire.
He
It's
said, I
it's
really
my
fucking
variant.
hate Han Solo, and Jar Jar Binks should have been the main protagonist of the Star Wars series.
Ah, muy. Yeah, no thank you. Anyways, so throughout the last 2 weeks, Dale and I saw Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, a little background. Brody doesn't play video games, except for Mario. And
Yeah.
like Mario Kart
I'm a
and
class.
Rock Band.
I'm a classic video game guy more so than anything.
Yeah, and super casual too. It's
Yeah.
not really your jam at all. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck that lawnmower, by the way. It's gonna bother me the entire time we're doing this podcast, but nothing's worse than when he's getting in his truck at 4 a.m. But anyways, now you guys feel my pain. So I was a Fnaf fan from the jump because I liked the concept, but I was also a video game design student at the time, and I really respected the way that he was making this new Night Trap-ish kind of game. I really enjoy the overall aesthetic of the first 3 games. I think it's a very good concept. I really only like playing the first 2. I think they're a lot of fun, and I still want to do a let's play of you and a reaction video.
Oh, I'm
of
still
you,
down for that.
of you playing the first one. I
I'm
think
still
that'd be
down
hilarious.
for that.
We need to get the 4 of us and Eric.
Yes.
Us and Eric sit in a room.
As soon as I get a fourth mic, we're doing that. You can put that.
Oh yeah, I'll put on my
Oh,
later.
I actually forgot to mention. So, this was kind of like a joint gift between me and Daniel.
Oh well, thank you.
So Daniel was actually the one who, I mean, I sprung the idea about the picture frame, but he's the one that got it for him.
You a big old hug when I return to work. Thank you. But
Sorry about that.
I like FNAF. I've been a fan. I fell off.
It's definitely a cool concept.
Yeah, it's
you know?
something that's been explored with the Banana Splits, Willy's Wonderland, which I like both of those movies. They're not good movies.
I
but
love Willy's
like
Wonderland.
Willy's Wonderland is I probably like more than Banana Splits, but if you haven't seen those and you like the idea of FNAF,
Yeah.
they're kind of sleeper hit movies that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend you check those movies out. They're far from perfect, but
They're a lot of fun.
even if you don't like the concept, but you like Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage,
Yeah.
Willy's Wonderland is just him not saying anything.
He doesn't have one word of dialogue.
Which you would think that takes away Nicolas Cage from being Nicolas Cage.
Not
but
at
it
all.
Doesn't. So definitely recommend Willy's Wonderland. But yeah, so you have really, outside of me and limited experience with FNAF, you don't have...
I mean, so I went into it unbiased because I didn't play the games a bunch. I mean, I played the first 2 with Seth over the years, but never by myself, never... I mean, I know the lore, I know everything that goes on behind it. Movie was... I believe it was okay for what it was. After me and Eric watched it, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10.
Was it like actually 3 hours like they said said it was going to be?
No,
I thought I heard
152.
Okay, fair enough.
Matthew Lillard's definitely the high point in the movie.
Surprise.
You get some little Scream references.
Yeah.
He pulls out the knife and he cleans it off like Ghostface does.
Nice.
And it also at the end he goes,
Oh,
"I always come
spoilers.
back."
Nice.
Yeah, spoilers for anybody that
Yeah,
hasn't had spoilers at this point.
This we're talking about it now. But
It's 2 weeks.
He says, "I always come back" before the end. It's,
Yeah.
That's really cool, actually.
And they set him up to be Springtrap, which is an important fan favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
The lore of FNAF is all over the place. Matt Pat kind of sums it up very well in his videos, which he's in the movie.
Yeah. Oh my god. A game? That's just a theory.
Yeah.
When he's at the fucking...
I thought that was funny.
It was funny, but I was like, oh my god, really?
Like, it would have felt forced if he was like a detective or something, or like they just were watching a YouTube video or something.
No,
it was
fun. It was fun.
It takes place in 2000, so they couldn't have had a YouTube video.
Oh, that's
is
pretty
that
cool.
what the year is?
If you look when they're doing the VHS, where they show...
Okay, I saw that.
Yeah, yeah. So, but the movie, Brody
could care less. So it's mostly going to be Vale and I discussing this to talk about the movie.
I'm gonna watch it at some point, but I'm not pressed to see it
it's
right
not
now.
high on your priority list.
No.
So the movie's about this guy, Mike, who is a security guard that's struggling after he gets fired from his job at the security guard at the mall. He goes to this temp agency where Matthew Lillard recommends him to go to Five Nights at Freddy's.
Well, so he's taking care of his little sister because his parents aren't in the picture.
Because his family fell apart after a tragic incident where his brother, unfortunately, was taken by a person that we don't know yet.
Right. So essentially, like, they just kind of... The state comes and they're like, you need to have a job or we're going to take your sister away from you and place her with your aunt or wherever they're what.
And a lot of people keep leaving this out in reviews where they're like, I don't understand if it's established why outside of him just being told to get a job, why he needs... There's also an element that they were financially struggling because he was saying, like, I will pay you at some point to the babysitter.
Yeah.
And there was an eviction notice on the door. So he starts working at Five Nights at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Stuff starts happening. He's having these dreams where he keeps seeing the ghosts of the animatronics, and they're involved because he keeps having these dreams about his brother before he works there. Then the ghosts get involved.
He's really not a good security guard because he falls asleep
every
single night at his job.
As somebody that's been a security guard, I can tell you firsthand, I did do that once or twice. It is a very boring job, but that's horrible.
Yeah.
And he's also inducing it because he's taking sleeping pills.
So he's like obsessed with dreaming to find his brother, and it
essentially, he figures out that these spirits may have some idea of where his brother went after he got kidnapped.
Right.
Huh.
So
this movie has like a legit story to it.
Yes, there's going to be 3 movies they've signed on for. So
Wow.
it's going to be a trilogy.
And I will say that the story is kind of all over the place. It's definitely one of the weaker elements of the movie, which is, for FNAF fans, I think is a little jarring.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it would have been R, but I understand with the fan base being PG-13.
Yeah. How was was it like a hard PG-13? Like with the violence?
There's a lot of implied violence. Like one of the opening scenes of a guy getting the animatronic face put on, and it's just all saw blades and he's screaming as it goes onto his face and they cut away.
Right.
it does good.
Yeah, sometimes with stuff like that, it works better.
I understand.
You know?
With the fan base being probably the younger crowd and stuff
oh
like
yeah,
that.
because you can't. I mean, a lot of younger kids are going to go see this movie, and you can't. You know,
can't have Saw
Terrifier to it.
you can't like have Saw elements or like stuff like that.
It's meant for that younger demo, and it's a perfect introductory horror film for kids. I know a lot of people are coming up to me and telling me, because I'm this old. We're this old now, where people have 6 and 7 year old kids.
Yeah.
We know. My godson is going to turn 7 this year, and that to me is insane. But so a lot of people are coming up and saying it's really, like, I took my kid to see it. It wasn't too much for them. The first, the first kill, the babysitter that is hired by Mike ends up being like somebody that's trying to rat him out, to this aunt that's trying to take away the kid for a check from the state.
Yeah.
So they're in this like horrible group of people are trying to ransack the pizzeria, and you start seeing the kills from there, and from there it's just kind of off to the races with the typical Fnaf stuff. I will say that the part where they're all kind of hanging out was the worst part of the movie for me.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Yeah.
so stupid.
Yeah.
I was completely baffled why they did that.
Essentially, the ghosts in these animatronics are kids. So at one point in the movie, there's a little kid, and they start all building a fort and hanging out together. Which...
I can see why they did it
I understand.
to a degree, to establish a false sense of security, which is something scary and could work with Fnaf. But overall, then the ending, and there's the whole thing where Freddy shows up and kills the aunt at the house. They never went back to that. So what do you like? That's a plot.
I didn't even know they could leave the restaurant.
Yeah, well, they can, but like,
can they?
That's
into any games or anything?
Yeah, they get into that later, and I'm not an expert. It's not like Sonic or Pokemon where I know the lore well, or you know the lore well, but it's also something that's only been around for
a decade,
9 years.
9 years,
So not even 9 years yet. It came out. Oh no, not yet. August of 2014.
Yeah, so almost a decade.
Yeah, almost 10 years. So compared to things like Marvel or DC, where you have decades of lore to do, I understand why the movie was kind of splotchy. However, I have hope, because Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is a prequel.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are saying that the second movie will be a prequel. Some people are groaning at that. I think that would be awesome.
It'd be interesting to see how Matthew Lillard comes about with all that. Like,
but I think if that was the case, they should have waited to establish Springtrap.
Yeah.
But if they do the prequel, and then in the third one, with like the third game, Springtrap is the only animatronic that attacks.
Yeah.
The rest are ghosts. So, right after that, I'm sure I might be getting something wrong because I moved on to other things. But if I was a kid and that game came out, I would have been obsessed. I would have been one of those kids obsessed with it, because I was obsessed with it as an adult. So overall, I'd probably give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Like I said, 6.5, 7,
as a moviegoer, as a fan of FNAF, I probably would have gave it a 7.5, give or take.
Yep.
Definitely recommend it if you're an adult of the franchise. Definitely recommend it if you're a parent and you're iffy to take your kid to see it. I would say for any kid over 8, it's nothing too bad. You see worse shit on the news. Like, this is the YouTube generation. These kids have seen
everything.
They watch horror. If your kid watched Markiplier play these games, you can take him to see this movie.
Yeah.
Overall, not bad. I had a good time with it. Watch it on Peacock. You don't need to see it in the theater. If you have a group, it's fun. People were cosplaying when I saw it.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I thought that. I saw it.
It's definitely like a group horror film.
I watched it on Plex, and then I went and saw it. I had a good time with it. And I thought that the fan reaction was a lot of fun. People were like popping like a Marvel movie when that. And the guy who drove the taxi cab is a YouTuber. The black dude that Fnaf gets in the car with.
Yep.
I never seen a video that guy has made, but apparently Markiplier couldn't be in the movie because of like scheduling conflicts.
I'm sure, yeah.
And a lot of people are complaining about that, but I mean, what are you gonna do?
Right.
You know?
It'll be interesting to see where the series goes. There's going to be 3 movies. I think I might be more invested in the second one now that they've kind of built the storyline up and built the lore behind it. So we'll see what happens with it. But
Maybe like a reverse of Halloween. The new Halloween trilogy.
Right. So I have 2 quick things run through. I wanted to get you guys to talk about the French film and a quick thing, the Terrifier 3 teaser. Did you guys watch it?
I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it. I'm not.
Stills.
I saw stills, but like as you guys know, I'm not big on trailers.
It's not a trailer. So essentially,
or teasers in general.
The only thing that happens is Christmas music is playing. This little girl comes downstairs and she sees Santa Claus bent over the Christmas tree. And she goes, Santa! And then Art sits up in the Santa outfit and he's got an axe and he starts laughing.
Oh, no.
And then it cuts to the Terrifier 3 logo. And then the last shot of the little teaser is Art sitting there with his name written on the wall in blood, and he's laughing and he's eating the cookies and the milk.
I saw him and Damien Leone.
So
I saw them sitting there, and Damien Leone's the director.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. I thought so. They're sitting there, and he had just as Santa, and yeah, I saw all that. So do you think that that's gonna be? It's going to take place in October because the first
Christmas.
It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to say October. The second one took place in October. It took place on Halloween.
Yeah.
First one did too.
Yep.
Yeah.
A couple years later.
And then the one before that, All Hallows Eve, so Halloween. But do you think that 3 is going to take place the same year after?
It's possible.
Oh,
I can see. I can
because
see
they're
that.
So close together.
I can see that.
I'm very interested to see what they do. Did you guys see the poster at least?
Yeah, I saw the poster.
Art the Clown, and he's wearing like a necklace with Santa Claus's face on it, like he cut it off or whatever. Yeah, look that up real quick.
So so with me, horror Christmas has always kind of been like a mixed bag for me, and Gremlins being one of my favorite movies, that's kind of weird, but I kind of feel like it's a cheap thing to do.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah,
nice.
But like I said, I like Fnaf. So things can be taking something that's supposed to be super sweet and innocent and making it horrible is something that's a hit or miss topic for me.
Right.
But
if anyone can do it, it's going to be Damien Leone.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
There you go. So of course I'm excited for Terrifier 3. Yeah.
But Terrifier 3, and then my last thing was
your last thing.
Thring. Fuck
What's a thing?
I was thinking about the movie.
A fan of Thrice.
But
I mean, I don't mind them.
Is Inside, this French horror film that I watched.
It's called Inside.
Inside. So I'm gonna
wait. Wasn't that the name of the
yes
thing we saw with
William Dafoe? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about this.
Was that the same movie?
No, it's a French film.
I didn't know if it was like adapted.
Oh no, it's a French horror film. No,
yeah.
I've heard about the one with Willem Dafoe.
No, we watched that. It's very slow. It's a slow burn, but like it's alright.
I like slow burn horror films.
But so in this movie, essentially, so I'm gonna spoil it through. It came out a long time ago. It's a French horror film. I'm sure not everyone's gonna jump in joy to go see a French horror film.
What year did it come out?
I think it was like 08, 07.
Okay. Did you watch it with Eric?
No, I watched it by myself.
Okay, the reason I say that is because Eric and I always bitch about how you can have a French interpretation film and everybody thinks it's amazing.
Well, you guys always know I go for the wild shit. I try to find the wild or whatever. So I came across this. So the movie starts out with this 5-month pregnant woman, and she's in a car accident, and her husband passes away. She's driving the car, her husband passes away in the accident, she survives. It cuts to 4 months later. A lady shows up at her house, knocks on the door, asks to be let in. She calls the cops. The lady ends up breaking in. The cops show up. She kills the cops. The lady falls asleep, and she starts to take like scissors to her stomach. Starts to put it for the baby. And so the lady wakes up, freaks out, runs and locks herself in the bathroom. And this entire movie is people showing up, like trying to save this girl.
Wow.
And I'm talking like brutal. It's brutal. It's bloody. Like, the way this chick takes out these people, she uses big scissors, like gigantic, like not gigantic,
Like
but if you were
Looney Tunes
thinking,
size?
yes, like she uses those to cut,
Like ribbon
and
cutting.
stab people. Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Oh, man.
Oh my god.
And I'll say this girl goes through a lot,
Yeah.
and it's got a very, very dark and bleak ending that I don't even want to describe.
Right.
But it really stuck. This girl goes through so much stuff. Like, she's hiding in the bathroom. This girl comes up, or she's hiding in the bathroom. Some of her family comes home, and the girl that's trying to kill her just plays it off like, "Oh, I'm one of her friends here. I'm here to check up on her," and stuff like that. So then so then her mom comes over, and she's like, "Where's my daughter?" She runs upstairs to the bathroom. The girl's terrified. She opens the door and stabs her own mother in the face.
Oh.
Because she thinks it's the girl coming back after her.
Was this subbed or dubbed?
It's subbed. No.
Okay.
Was it like
it's all subtitles?
Okay, because honestly, as you watch anime, I watch anime. We're not experts, but we've been watching anime a long time.
But we're also big Godzilla fans.
Right.
I like dubbed anime. I like sub anime. I prefer sub Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
I think as a kid, I did, but as an adult, I do.
That's what I'm glad about Godzilla -1 coming to theaters. It's going to be subbed. It's not dubbed.
Good.
Which is actually
and when
kind of cool. I want to see it.
When that comes out, you will have a very in-depth review from...
I'm sure.
I don't know about you, but I know...
I might go see it.
I know for a fact that it'll be...
Yeah, day one.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to get the pre-sale tickets.
So,
There's November 29th.
You're going to be mad at me. I went to the Maryland Toy Expo yesterday, and I found some cool horror movie posters from this like older gentleman who was selling a lot of older toys, which I normally pass on going into the little booths like that because there's just, my buddy, there's just nothing there for either of us. But I saw it and I looked around and I see some Universal horror posters, so I picked them up. I was torn between the Mummy and this cool Godzilla looking poster. If it was like a movie poster, I would have got it. It was just a poster of Godzilla.
Right.
So I got the Mummy and Dracula. The Mummy one was under the table, and you can see it's bent.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice it was bent. I paid the guy, and I said, I'll come back and pick these up when I'm on my way out the door. And so I went to pick them up, and I was like, oh, shit.
Right.
So I regret not getting the Godzilla poster.
But anyway, that movie, it's very bloody, very gory. If you don't mind international films, I'd recommend it. It's just coming from me as the extreme guy. Essentially, movie ends up, the lady that's been trying to cut open this lady's stomach throughout the whole movie or whatever to take the baby is the lady she accidentally killed in the car accident in the beginning of the movie, and she had her kid in the car. So she was like, if I can't have my baby, you can't have yours. And that's kind of like... So it was very, very bloody, very gory, interesting concept, dark ending. I just wanted to bring that up because it takes a lot to surprise me nowadays.
Yeah.
And it took me off guard.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you can start your list if you... I gotta run in the pee, but...
I don't have anything like newsworthy except for, and I'm probably the lone person here, but there might be some other people listening out there. But today is the final race of the NASCAR season in Phoenix. So the final four is good fucking grief.
Well, sorry, bud. I'm walking
on
Seth's bed.
We have a very professional set here.
The studio.
It's my studio and my single wide, It's absolutely incredibly Joe Rogan experience in here,
But anyway, the final four are Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, and William Byron. All very good drivers. Kyle Larson won the championship 2 years ago. I think, in my opinion, and let me know what you guys think, but I think William Byron's going to take it because he's just been doing really well this season. Kyle Larson could do it. Christopher Bell could do it just because he's one of the really young drivers that's like really good. Also, for all you older NASCAR fans, today is Kevin Harvick's final race of his career. This is his final season.
How long has he been racing?
Let me see when he...
Yeah, I know little to nothing about NASCAR.
Yeah. You might have remembered seeing like the 29 Goodwrench car like around, because that's what he used to drive like back in the day.
I used to watch it with my grandfather.
My dad watched it a lot. That was Tony Stewart.
That was the guy I liked too.
So
he had the Home Depot
number
car.
20. Yep.
So he's been racing. He's been racing for a long time. His first race was in 2001, and that probably wasn't even his first like big cup race. That might have been like a minor league race. But
I didn't know NASCAR had minor league.
yeah, you have
Does it have a different name, or is it NASCAR?
No, so NASCAR's got like they've got 3 different divisions. They've got the Truck Series, the Craftsman Truck Series, which is kind of like the first area where you go in, but then you got the Xfinity Series, which is like the minor leagues, which is kind of like NXT in a way.
Okay.
And then you got the Cup Series, which is like main roster WWE.
The major league.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, he's been racing for well over 20 years.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I really wanted to see it. I really wanted to see him get one win at least this season, but he hasn't.
Maybe he'll pull it off.
Yeah, I mean that'd be cool. I mean, he's not going to win a championship, but that'd be cool to see him like win the race.
Right.
Very good driver. He actually took over for Dale Earnhardt when he passed away.
Okay.
So
He was my grandfather's guy.
yeah,
So.
yeah. Kevin Harvick was like the next racer to take over for Dale Earnhardt when he
Okay.
passed away. Really, really nice guy. Really, really good driver. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of sad to see him end his career, but he deserved it. He's getting out while he can.
Yeah.
He is going to be doing commentary though next year for like all the races. So that'll be cool.
No, it's good to see someone involved when they've had such a dedication to the sport, especially like a 20+ year
no
tenure
matter what it is.
somewhere.
No matter
It's
what
great
it
to see a
is.
dedication, whether it's our thing, wrestling, whether
Yeah.
it's football, whether it's NASCAR.
I was talking about this yesterday. I just admire when someone is passionate about something,
Yeah.
and you can tell that they're passionate about it because they're passionate about it. It's something I really respect.
See, that's why NASCAR and wrestling are like the only 2 things I can watch, because football and baseball, a lot of people are there just to make money.
Yeah.
They're not passionate about it.
See, like I can watch baseball. I grew up.
Yeah.
My father played. My stepdad, but my dad was coached minor league baseball, so it's something that's really big in my parents' house.
But yeah, that'll be cool. I'm wondering if, because I think supposedly after the race ends, they might let Kevin Harvick take like one last lap around the track, which would be really cool if
Is
they
that
did.
like the boots in the ring type thing?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, boots in the ring is a traditional send-off for wrestlers that retire.
But yeah, that'll be like I said, it's gonna be sad just because I mean he's had so many great moments. Like I think his most defining moment was probably, I want to say it was like 2002, 2003, maybe 2004, like early in his career. It was probably one of the best finishes in like NASCAR history. Him and Ricky Rudd are like neck and neck, like bumper to like right next to each other, and they're like neck and neck like the last like 3 laps, and then like when they come around when they both came around for that final lap, I mean they're bumper cars, they're just slamming into each other, and Harvick won by like that much. I think it was like 1/10 of a second or something like that.
Talladega Nights finish.
Kind of, yeah.
Or like in cartoons where like it's the tongue.
Yeah. But yeah, it was probably one of the best finishes in NASCAR history, and NASCAR fans will attest to this. One of the best lines in like NASCAR commentary history is when shut up. Is when Mike Joy says, "Have you ever?" and then Darrell Waltrip goes, "No, I never." That's like one of the best lines in like NASCAR commentary history. And then one last thing before I, stop the NASCAR rant because I could go on all day. Yeah. It was really cool too. Like I think it was either last year or the year before. Him and Chase Elliott, who's my favorite driver, had like a really heated rivalry, like 2 years ago. and Chase Elliott supposedly wrecked him on like the last lap, and Kevin Harvick gets out, and it's just cool to see because of how passionate he still was. He gets out of his car, takes his helmet off, slams it on the car, walks over to Chase Elliott, starts arguing with him. And then after that, like, they interview Kevin Harvick, and he's like, "I'm ready to rip someone's freaking head off right now."
Yeah.
So it was just cool to see, like, that late in his career, like, he's still like
That
that passionate
Yeah,
about
again,
it.
it's just something I admire.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get into the nitty gritty here.
Sorry about that.
No. Again, that's how other people probably feel when we're talking about wrestling.
Yeah.
Look, Eminem, we're supposed to be about everything.
Yeah,
So anytime we
everything
can
in
throw
between.
something, every time we can throw something that one of us is passionate about, that's why I'm talking about a French horror film where a pregnant lady gets stabbed.
Yeah.
Right. And I talked about a Toy Expo.
Right,
yeah,
so-
that's-
Well, okay, run through your shit. We'll
So,
run around the table and then compare.
We do the top 5. We're doing our top 5 comedies because we did horror movies.
None of
last
us
month.
have top 5. It's like top fucking.
I know.
And
So-
it was kind of hard for me to do because, surprisingly, comedy is probably like one of my least favorite genres because I'm really picky about my comedies.
Yep. It's
So-
my second favorite. Probably my third. I'm a big animation guy, but it's like a whole another thing. But that being said, you were gonna lighten the tone and do some comedies. So the big challenge here was that my favorite comedy movie I couldn't do. My two, Shaun of the Dead probably would have been in the top 5, but I know for a fact Ghostbusters is my favorite comedy movie of all time. And I know the thing with you guys is
Step Brothers.
Yeah.
And I like that movie a lot, but it's not,
For reference, me and Brody probably watched that movie
Oh
at
my
least
God.
once or twice a week.
Yeah.
One summer, like
Yeah.
2012, 2011,
remember.
It was like, I think it was like 2010.
2010 or something.
It was like right
God.
before you moved to Aberdeen, I think.
That movie was hilarious. It
It
was our
still
childhood.
is.
Yeah.
It's still amazing.
It's perfect. But so yeah, we couldn't do that.
So that was the part of the challenge, just to make it interesting. So my top 5, my honorable mentions are Caddyshack,
That was hard not to put on my list. I was thinking
Bill-
about it.
Bill Murray.
That's a classic movie.
Bill Murray to me is my favorite anybody with
And then-
comedy.
And then, of course, Chevy Chase.
And,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, whoa. Lady, you were probably something before electricity.
Yeah.
That gets me. That's a nice hat. Does it come with a bowl of soup?
Yeah.
That
Oh, it looks good on you, though.
looks good on you, though. Hey, we're all going to get laid. Hey. That movie kills me. And then, I don't want to talk about this honorable mention, but it'll be involved in my top 5. Wayne's World, which freaking killed me to not put on this list.
That's actually, since we're doing that whole thing where we
Yes.
compare.
Is it on your guys'?
Yeah, it's my number 3.
It's not on mine, but yes.
Is
I
it
thought
in your
about
honorable mentions?
It's not, but I thought
Wow.
it was almost.
It's
on
my
own.
number 3. I fell in love with that movie when I first saw it.
So we'll talk about that in a second. Fanboys, is it on yours?
Yes, that's
Okay.
on my honorable
That would be
mentions.
the
Yes,
next thing.
that's on honorable
And
mentions.
Home Alone. And then my regular top 5 is Grandma's Boy.
It's just on mine.
Really?
That's on
okay.
mine.
Grandma's
Come
Boy.
on,
Grandma's
I-
Boy
I
is a
thought
good one.
so,
That's
yeah.
why I told you I was like, I think we have at least
Yeah,
one,
Right.
but
South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. So the reason I said the 4... South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, The Simpsons movie, and Do America were all kind of connected because they were all kind of neck and neck. But
Do America is in my honorable mentions.
so I love all 3 of them for different reasons, but I'll get into that when I talk about them. But they were all kind of connected.
Bigger, Longer, and Uncut was actually how I got introduced to the show.
telling me that.
Yeah.
Was the movie. I
think
bought it.
I-
I bought it at a yard sale.
I think I remember trading you season 4 of the animated series for your copy on DVD and like
Yep.
a Kiss concert.
Yep.
Then number 3 is Big Daddy.
That's a good one.
Number 2 is Clerks, and
Which-
number 1, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with my second favorite comedian of all time, John Candy.
a version of Clerks is on mine, so we'll get to that.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
So let's start with Caddyshack.
Well, hold up. Do you want to run around real quick, and then we can discuss anything?
Yeah, let's do that. So, Brody, you said Caddyshack was in your honorable mention?
No, I almost put it on there.
Okay. So it's Wayne's World.
Yes.
Okay, so
yeah.
Wayne's World and then Fanboys.
Right.
So then, but go ahead and run through.
We'll run through all of our So my honorable mentions, I had a couple of them. So Fanboys was on it. Grandma's Boys on the honorable mentions. I don't know. It might have been on my top 5 list, but it's definitely there. And the other one is Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stop.
That movie is pretty funny.
Which is Lonely Island's funny.
Yeah.
And it didn't do that well at the box office, but if you watch that movie and the music and everything, Andy Samberg, of course.
Oh, it's hysterical.
The rest of the Lonely Island. It's a hysterical movie, so definitely check it out. And then going through and doing my top 5. These aren't in any order specifically either this week because it was hard to disguise.
Disguise?
But, yeah. Well,
it was hard to disguise.
Distinguish.
How about I throw up?
Decide.
But
please don't, because then I'll do it.
What I have here, so tied, I have Super Troopers and Jackass. So I thought you were going to have Jackass.
Because there was, along with another movie that we said, Do America, it was an alternate of all 3 of these movies for at least a year and a half, where every freaking day, Vale and I would watch Do America, Wayne's World, or the first Jackass.
One of the
movie.
Jackasses,
One of
even,
them.
yeah. But, yeah.
We ordered, fun fact for you, one year, it was around this time, Vale and I had ordered Do America, and I thought it was free, and we paid for it. We ordered Do America 45 times, because it was before I owned it on DVD.
Yeah.
And my stepdad was like, "So you're going to pay for this?" I was like, "Well, I just got my birthday money." He said, "You had birthday money," and I had to pay for 40. It was after that point that I said, I need to find this.
We just thought it was so funny. It was a comfort movie to hear in the background.
Oh, well, Do America. I mean,
we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But.
It's hysterical.
So Super Troopers, Jackass. Then we have American Pie, which I'm sure you guys probably could have guessed was on mine.
Yeah, yeah. I only really like the first one, yeah.
The 4 main movies are great. 1, 2, Wedding, and Reunion.
Those are about when I'm good.
So, but there's a whole bunch of side stories and whatnot that they always come out with that are subpar.
I'm done with
the main stories are where it's at. The next one is Clerks 2, which...
We can talk about both of those when we talk about Clerks.
Which is what I was in the middle of watching before I walked over, or before I came over.
I adored it. People hate
You walked over here from Stepney Road? That's a long way.
Actually, I ran 30 miles an hour.
Yikes. That's scary. You got that cheetah speed.
But, yeah, Clerks 2, it's got some of the best lines of the entire Askewniverse.
Yeah.
It's got...
We'll get it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Clerks 2. And then we got Beavis and Butthead Do America, just for how iconic it's been for me. And another movie I watched this week, which is Role Models.
We watched that a few years ago together, and I do like that movie a lot.
Paul Rudd and, what's his face? Sean William Scott.
Yeah.
Absolutely kill it in the movie. I forgot how much I liked it. I went back. All the Kiss references.
Everybody, when I say Kiss is one of my favorite bands, everybody always quotes that movie.
Yeah. Or, you know what I had for breakfast? Cocaine. You know what I had for lunch? Cocaine. Well, what'd you do for dinner? Was it cocaine? Like, that movie's funny.
Yeah, that movie is pretty funny.
I love that. Like I said, it wasn't in any specific order, but I just recently rewatched it, and it had to be in my top 5. So,
go ahead, Brody.
So, my 5 honorable mentions, I have Napoleon Dynamite.
That was hard.
Yeah.
That was really hard for me.
I saw that at a young age.
So did I.
It's so freaking stupid, but
it's
God,
so
it's funny. I mean, Uncle Rico, Kip. Didn't I throw a pigskin a quarter mile? Are you serious?
I could throw a football over those mountains if I wanted to.
God, it's so many quotable lines in that movie. I mean, your mom goes to college. I mean, that's everyone knows that line. Like,
oh my God, way to eat all the freaking chips, Kip.
Tina, you fat lard.
Get some dinner.
But one of the other lines I like I remember the. Not to go on a bit too big of a tangent because we'll talk about it eventually, but one of the parts that always killed me.
We can just talk about it. We can just talk.
One of the best, one of the parts that always killed me in that movie was when Uncle Rico's like driving, and Napoleon starts throwing those oranges at his car. When that orange hits his windshield, he just goes, ah! That shit killed me.
Well, Napoleon, you can leave.
You can leave.
Fine.
So I guess you could say it's getting pretty serious.
Yeah. It's getting pretty serious.
But God, so many quotable lines. My next one is Beavis and Butthead Do America. It's a classic.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
So many great lines in that movie. This honorable mention was really hard not to put on my top 5, but Uncle Buck. It's my favorite John Candy movie of all time.
Between that or Planes, Trains.
Another movie that has a lot of great moments.
Dude, that part with the plate.
Yeah, Unbreakable.
That gets me every time. And he drops the plate and he picks it up. He's like, "Oh, it's just supposed to be unbreakable." And he just shatters it. Oh my god.
So my next one after that is Bruce Almighty. That was probably my first.
That's a good one.
That was probably my first Jim Carrey movie I ever saw.
Really?
I saw that at a very young age.
So too,
In my house growing up, my dad was a big Jim Carrey fan.
Yeah.
So for the early parts of my life, I liked Adam Sandler.
Right.
He liked Jim Carrey. It was always comparing the two.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up with a lot of early Jim Carrey. Like, my dad was a fan of, like, In Living Color.
Yeah.
So, like, I grew up with Jim
Right.
Carrey a lot.
Yeah.
And one of my childhood best friends worshipped Jim Carrey. So.
But there's so many funny moments in that movie. I mean from, the moment he gets his powers, and then the scene that killed me. I mean, I was on the floor. I was laughing so hard when I watched this. Was the newsroom scene where he messes with. When he messes with Steve Carell, he just goes. Da, da, da. That part killed me, and it still kills me to this day. And it wasn't very well liked by the critics. No, and I don't know why.
I think Jim Carrey was kind of sour with a lot of critics.
Yeah,
a lot of his movies. Same thing with Adam Sandler.
Yeah,
a lot of his fan favorite movies are not
well liked.
Yeah.
And then my final one was Kindergarten Cop.
That's a good one.
It's so good. It's probably Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's probably Schwarzenegger's.
It would all be Schwarzenegger if it was Damien's list.
It's probably Schwarzenegger's best comedy, I would say.
Put the cookie down.
Yeah, well, that's Jingle All the Way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That one's it's not a tumor. Yeah.
But Kindergarten Cop is so funny. For some reason, the part that gets me too is when the fire alarm goes out. He's like, "Come on, it's a fire drill. Come on, stay together." When he said it's a fire drill, for some reason that kills me.
Where he fights that abusive dad.
Yeah,
that's always been my favorite.
Yeah. So going into my top 5.
Yep.
My number 5, and I will probably be alone on this one. Is The Other Guys with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell.
I don't hate that movie.
Yeah.
I think it was a little overhyped.
Look,
yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be funnier when I went to see it.
Yeah,
right.
But it's definitely got its scenes. Like the tuna and the lion bit still cracks me up. The aim for the bushes cracks me up. Or aim for the bushes.
And the opening is really funny too.
Yeah. There's just
bad cop. When Will Ferrell comes in there screaming,
"He wanted to talk to me. He wanted to talk to me."
Yeah.
I thought you said bad cop. I saw how aggressive you were being, so I'm like, I need to step it up. And it's
those two are funny together. Yeah. I will definitely say that.
And then like just the little things like, could you not smile like that? Now you're asking me to mask my emotions because of how it makes you feel. That I will not do.
Yeah.
And then the cool scene where where Will Ferrell's just going off on him. If you look at Mark Wahlberg's face, he is trying so hard not to laugh. A lion going up against an 800-pound tuna and some of his friends. You lose that battle. 9 out of 10. And a lion in the ocean. Lions don't like water. I assume it's off the coast of South Africa. But I mean, Gator needs his gat. Whose baby is that?
I haven't seen that movie.
To me, it's just there's so many good lines, and they have really good chemistry together. I think.
I will agree with that.
My number 4 is The Hangover.
That was gonna be mine.
I really liked that movie. Maybe 10 years ago it would have been on mine. But
I still think it's hilarious.
The first one is really fun. I haven't seen the other two in a long time.
The sequels aren't terrible, but they're just...
Definitely
nothing captures the magic of that first
They're very skippable. Like,
Yeah.
John Goodman in the third one is great,
Yeah.
but he's good in almost anything he does. But yeah, it's just not as memorable as the first one. They're worth a watch though.
Yeah,
the first one has all the quotable lines.
Yeah.
I hate Godzilla. I hate him too.
I hate him too.
Or,
hey, there are Skittles in there.
there.
There's a baby on
You've
board.
never found a baby before? Yeah, I have.
Coffee bean. What?
Coffee bean.
That movie was huge when it came out.
Oh my
Everybody
God.
was quoting it. Like, I remember when Facebook was first a thing, like, everything I was liking was just pages that were named after quotes from that movie. I love that first one. I could watch
Damien,
that.
are you eating sofa pizza?
Yes. Yeah.
That was.
Dude, he's like, I need you to put pants on. I find it weird to have to ask you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, he's
Dude,
not
he's
getting
not
there's a
getting their
tiger in there.
Yeah.
Like that just sounds like something you'd say.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
I would
You
definitely
look like a nerdy hillbilly.
I look like a nerdy hillbilly.
But yeah,
I didn't know
and
they
just
gave
to
out rings in the Holocaust. You guys ready to let the dogs out?
let the dogs out.
What does that mean? Who let the dogs? Who brought this guy?
And,
Where'd you find this guy?
and the cool thing about that movie is like, because my parents, they're not like, they like all the old stuff, like Blazing Saddles
mine
Caddyshack. That movie made them laugh.
Yeah,
mine because
too.
the thing is, like, everyone's been there. Everyone's gotten super messed
Except
up,
me.
super drunk, and they can't remember what they did the night before. Everyone's been there. That's what makes that movie hilarious.
I agree. That
You
movie, I mean, I've never been hungover, but
It's I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I haven't either. So
It's still great. I get what you're saying though.
Then number 3, we talked about it a little bit, and we'll talk about it a little more here, is Wayne's World.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
that one.
We
it's
all love that.
it's a classic. My number 2 is Spaceballs. That's my favorite Mel Brooks movie of all time.
It was really hard for me to not talk about Mel Brooks on here.
Yeah.
Maybe if we do like top 5 favorite comedians or something like that sometime, I will.
Yeah.
But on the Facebook post, which I'll read off, a lot of people were saying Mel Brooks, so I
Yeah.
figured
I mean,
could talk about
Spaceballs
it
is
then.
just, it's hysterical.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many great lines, and it's even funnier for Star Wars and Star Trek fans.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, that really get the references and stuff.
Why did nobody tell me my ass was this?
And then of course the end with John Hurt, who reprised his role from Alien.
I know.
Oh no, not again!
Yeah, and then it's
Hello, my baby.
Yeah,
Hello, my
Oh,
darling.
hello, my ragtop
And
guy.
they're all just like, oh man.
Yeah.
What does the guy say? He's like, I'll have, or I'll pass on that or something. Like, he's like, I'm not
Check,
gonna,
please.
Oh, check.
They
please.
both
Yeah,
stand up
yeah,
and say,
yeah,
"Check,
yeah,
please."
check, please. Yeah,
But yeah, so many great lines in that movie.
as a kid, I really loved Star Wars parodies. So
Pizza the Hut.
I always say that.
pizza is gonna send out for you.
And of course, John Candy. Always when I'm eating. I quote that one a lot. Always when I'm eating.
Who are you? Barf. Your full name. Bartholomew.
Yeah, that one's good.
But my number 1, I'd have to say Liar Liar. I mean, that's
almost
my favorite Jim Carrey movie of
Yep.
all time. I'd probably say it's my favorite comedy of all time.
My girl's in that.
That movie is so freaking hysterical. I mean, there's so many great lines, so many great moments that still kill me to this day. Like, I mean,
I think it's the most critically acclaimed comedy that he did.
I mean, that sounds about right. But I mean, the pen is blue. That's a great line. And because I was watching it the other night, and one of the like little parts that gets me every time for some reason is when him and the opposing lawyer are in the courtroom, and the lady looks at her and says, "You want to play hardball? I'm game." And as soon as she walks away, he goes, "You want to play hardball? I'm game." That kills me every time.
Your facial expressions just killed that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's on the fact that you have huge knockers. I mean,
I mean, your boobs are huge. I mean, I want to squeeze them. Mama.
My girl's perfect in that.
Oh yeah, Seth's girl Jennifer Tilly is in that movie. And then one more thing, another line that kills me is when he's talking to his ex-wife on the phone. She's like, "Well, what were you doing?" And he goes, "Having sex."
Yeah, he is great in that. So, okay, so our first one in order, Grandma's Boy.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who don't know, it's a game test. It's about game testers. That are the main character is a huge stoner. Who is he again? I always forget his name.
I don't know what his actual name is. I literally just
Adam Sandler's guys.
I literally just watched.
He's in like every Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah. So it's a Happy Madison. I think it's to date the only Happy Madison movie that was produced without Adam Sandler. In it. That and Benchwarmers.
I seen a 50 First Dates last night, so I saw like Dante from Grandma's Boy, and Rob
It's
Schneider's
his
character.
name is Alan Covert.
Alan Covert.
Yeah.
So he plays this stoner, and he lives with his grandma, who's the grandma from Everybody Loves Raymond, and Linda Cardellini is in it. It's just your typical stoner flick with video game references and stuff everywhere.
It's fun. It's raunchy. It can be raunchy.
It's raunchy.
Alex, there's a package for you at the front desk. Ooh, I hope it's a naked dude with a boner.
Yeah. What was that?
Nothing.
Nick Swartzen's that's probably my favorite role of his.
Yeah.
That or Chuck and Larry. I really like a lot of the it's quotable, which is a big quality for this list was quotability. Right. It's really funny. I think it's a sleeper hit. It's catching on, but like a lot of Netflix is helping with that.
Yeah.
But I ordered it on demand when I watched it. I was like, you can play video games for a living? And that's why I'm pursuing the career I'm pursuing. But
yeah, that movie's hilarious.
Yeah, hilarious. Oh, JP. Oh my god.
JP is.
Yeah.
How did he see
Please
me?
get on top of me. Yeah.
Please sit on my face.
So yeah, if you haven't seen it, watch it. It's on Netflix.
Funny movie, great
Hilarious.
movie.
And if you can't find it on Netflix, you can pick it up for like $3.
I mean, I think Walmart's got it in their cheap bins, if I'm not mistaken.
Highly recommend it. And then South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, The Simpsons Movie, and Do America.
Which, of course, all three of us love those movies.
Yeah.
We know. There's all... Mm-hmm. We all quote different shit from that movie.
All three of them.
Yeah. I mean,
we quote all three of them.
I mean, I think the one that we quote the most to me, like, between the three of us, is probably The Simpsons movie.
Yeah.
Because there's so many good lines in that movie.
I won't get into the plot. Just watch it. It's on Disney+. Just a dome comes over Springfield. And
you never find the treasure of I'm a Wiener.
I'm a Wiener. Classic.
That was another one that was big when it first came out.
Oh, it was huge.
And kind of went away. I saw it opening day. As many of you guys know, The Simpsons is my favorite show of all time. It means so much to me. And at the time, I had to see this movie. I was actually supposed to see Open Season at an outside screening.
That's funny.
And it rained. And my friend was like, "You want to go see the Simpsons movie?" And I was like, "Yes!" So then I saw the Simpsons movie.
So you saw the worst movie.
Oh, yeah. Right. So I know it's probably 10 years too late for that movie. The movie went through development hell.
Mm-hmm. It's like 2007 it came out, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Way past The Simpsons prime.
I got it for Christmas.
I feel like everybody got it for Christmas because it came out.
I think you and I both got it for Christmas one year.
Yes.
That movie's great. That movie is hilarious. It's the Simpsons at their best, or one of the best.
Personally,
personally, you don't think that?
Of the 2000s, maybe.
I mean, you're a bigger Simpsons fan than I am.
I would say that The Simpsons was the best, and from 1992 to about 1998. I would say some people can be subjective over that.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd personally say The Simpsons. I'd probably say The Simpsons movie is probably where the series should have capped it off.
I will say that. Yeah, I feel like it's where it's had ups and valleys since.
Yeah,
I could get into that.
But yeah, I mean,
Watch
I would say the first 10 seasons are are like the best seasons. Like that's really all you need to watch.
To me, if I could
the first
say,
10 seasons and the movie.
I always tell people when they ask my favorite show, I always say The Simpsons seasons 2 through 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, great movie. And then do Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, which was my choice. The reason I chose that over Do America, because we're gonna get into why, because we both love all three of us love Do America.
Yeah.
I don't think any movie that all three of us listed, with the exception of the other guys, wouldn't be in our top 20 favorites.
Yeah.
This list was hard. South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. I chose that one because I saw it the earliest, because it came out a year after Do America, but I saw it the earliest. Comedy Central played it all the time. I had a CD download that ripped with audio from that movie because I loved it so much. I saw it at the early age. I was constantly quoting it. Right behind where you're sitting is a giant poster of the movie. It's quotable. It's hilarious. The songs are good. It was nominated for an Oscar. I could be
Wasn't
wrong,
the soundtrack nominated for a Grammy too?
That's what I mean.
Look,
Yeah.
when I first got my phone, or one of my first phones, I put the Bigger, Longer, and Uncut poster as my background.
Yeah.
I remember my dad being like, "How do you know about South Park? What do you know about that?" Because I was so young, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I just thought it looked cool."
Yeah.
Like trying to hide it or whatever. But
I adored
Mr. Jimmy was showing me that shit.
I watched it, pretty much found it on my own. My sister was a big fan, but I found it on my own because I loved the show. But I still do. Excuse me. I still do. But, like, the songs, it was nominated for a Grammy. They went to the Grammys on acid.
Yeah.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone did. And then Robin Williams sung the song. That's what I'm thinking. He sung the song at the Oscars.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Of Blame Canada, because that was the song nominated.
Blame Canada.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and but yeah, that movie, it would be in my top 30 favorite movies probably. I love that movie. And so I'll cap that off. Cause again, it's one of those things. South Park's one of those things I could do a whole podcast on. Do America. So
We obviously got to talk about that. So
for those of you who don't know, the plot real quick is Beavis and Butthead get their TV stolen. So then they go to Vegas. They try to get it back, and they end up unintentionally going to Vegas
to do this person.
Yeah, because Bruce Willis's character, who's a hitman, thinks they're the two guys, the two assassins.
Didn't his wife play the other chick?
Demi Moore, yeah.
Demi Moore, yeah. Okay, so
his wife at the time, I think.
Yeah, his wife at the time. Yeah. And there's actually a really good roast that Jeff Ross said one time.
Yeah.
Or he said, I get at the Bruce Willis roast said, I guess your wife decided to go sleep with the goofy guy from Dude, Where's My Car?
Sorry.
But that being said, so basically, it's all about them doing this indirect hit of this chick and her husband, and they're going back and forth about trying to get Beavis and Butthead to assassinate their husband while they're involved in this huge government plot where they've got this virus and attached to them. And
I mean, the CIA and the government just gets involved. At some point, it's hilarious.
They get involved, and they're chasing after them, and they're unintentionally just tagging along with this tour bus and all kinds of stuff. It's just Beavis and Butthead being Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah. It's an extended version of the show.
Which
pretty
is,
much.
I think all three of these movies are practically that.
Yeah.
I mean, also the Bob's Burgers movie wasn't on here, but that definitely is the same thing. I think with time, I think that would end up on here. That's an extended episode. I'm the only person on this podcast that watches Bob's Burgers actively. Sam doesn't like Bob's Burgers at all. Don't rip him apart. But
I'd rather watch Quincy's Quesadillas.
What is that?
Ooh.
You sound like that, I could believe that being a show.
Quincy's quesadilla.
Yeah, I could believe that being a show on the Food Network.
Got
But, yeah, just a quick little side note while Vale was using the bathroom.
Okay.
So.
And what? Wayne's World we talk about real quick?
No, we're finishing up the Do America discussion. So that was the plot. If you haven't seen it, it's on Paramount+.
If you love Beavis and Butthead, it's perfect.
Beavis and Butthead, check it out.
It's Beavis and Butthead in their prime.
Again, it's coming out of the ass of the ass. Is this a goddamn?
Is this a goddamn?
Is this a goddamn?
Get it? Goddamn.
Oh yeah. You probably scored loads of times. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And fun fact, it was critically acclaimed.
Yep.
Everyone
loved it.
That movie, and it came out at the same time as Scream. So,
I mean, yeah.
I think that's why Scream wasn't a hit at first.
Probably
because
not.
Beavis
Yeah.
and Butthead was so big.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely recommend that. The new one was good too. The new Beavis and Butthead movie was a lot of fun too.
Mm-hmm.
So then number 3 on my list, Big Daddy. I'm trying to make these quick because we're going long, but Big Daddy is essentially Adam Sandler ends up getting unintentionally becoming this kid's father. Dylan and Cole Sprouse played the kid. Adam Sandler's one of my favorites. I know that could be a mixed thing for people. I love Adam Sandler. This is my favorite Adam Sandler movie. It's one of the first movies I saw in theaters. I watched it all the time as a kid, and I watch it all the time now. I quote it a lot. One of my favorite lines in that whole movie is, "What are you doing after?" It just still weirds me out when they kiss. Why, they're gay guys. That's what they do. Yeah, I know. It's just weird. They were like our brothers back in college. They are our brothers. We're very gay brothers. What are you doing after this? Going to a Klan meeting? I love that movie. If you haven't seen that one, you can watch it on, I think, Netflix.
I think it's on Peacock too.
Yeah, great movie. I feel like a lot of people have, though, but I would say that it's the forgotten one of the 90s, because everybody always says Billy Madison,
Happy Gilmore,
Waterboy.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people kind of forget about Big Daddy. Clerks is number 2. I am going to make this so quick, because
please, because you could talk about Clerks for like 10 hours.
Clerks is my 5th favorite movie of all time. It is the Bible of working retail. Kevin Smith is my favorite director. It captured the way geeks talk. It captured the way that people in their late teens, early 20s talk. Jay and Silent Bob steal the show. Randall and Dante have Randall and Dante have a big attachment to me and Vale. Their friendship is very relatable to us. Their quoting of Star Wars, their just way they talk with each other, it is very near and dear to my heart, and I know Clerks 2 is basically the same thing. Everything we just said, it's quotable.
Yeah. The first one is a really good movie. The second one just appeals to me for its outlandish comedy.
Yeah.
And it's over the top. He definitely went for wild with the second one. And, and, you got...
the Lord of the Rings rant, which is legendary.
Lord of the Rings. You got the Pussy Troll.
I'm bringing it back,
Yeah.
which is all I can say.
Crippy Boy.
Yeah. Pickle fucker.
Yeah, Pickle Fucker.
Give us free eats. But yeah, that's great. And Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Now, this was my number 1 because of a couple of reasons, but the big one being that John Candy is somebody that I am so sad died so young.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously very sad when that happens, but especially with him because of how good of a career he could have had.
Oh yeah.
Because he already had an amazing career in such a short span. For those of you who don't know, Steve Martin plays this like typical business
very
oriented, uptight kind of guy.
Doesn't have time for anyone or anything.
Steve Martin is very funny, but I feel like he fit that role very well.
Yeah.
He's a very uptight business guy. He ends up on this plane next to this guy who's John Candy, who's like, he's kind of like me, where he's just friendly. He's a salesman type guy,
he'll talk to you and he's just friendly with everybody, but he talks too much.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up getting kicked off. The plane gets delayed, and everything just kind of spirals from there. And it's all about the two of them trying to get home for Thanksgiving, and without giving anything away, John Candy ends up not really having anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really heartwarming movie too, which I think is something that a lot of comedies, like, it's really easy to make a mean-spirited comedy. It's really difficult to make a heartwarming comedy that doesn't feel hallmarky.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like John Hughes did a really good job with that. I watch it every year on Thanksgiving. I watch it. I watch it. I quote it. I watch it by myself because of how much I quote it. I feel like you and me quote it a lot too, me and Brody. But the rant of John Candy, and it's also one of those movies where you get to see both of them excel at what they do.
Right.
Steve Martin has this really good rant at this lady.
That's my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Oh my god, where I can't even talk about it.
He just goes off on the lady.
He just goes off on this lady, the secretary.
If you've seen it, you know.
The secretary who plays the secretary in everything. That was the secretary in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. She is. I don't know her name either, but she is perfect at whatever role she's in. She just nails it with the little Wisconsin accent. You could watch that on YouTube, and I feel like if you're not sold on that, then you won't like the movie. But like that is a perfect trailer. You could just have that as a trailer for the movie.
Yeah.
And John Candy has a really good speech
At the end, yep.
that they add about him liking himself, and that hits so hard for me. That it's actually parodied in Family Guy really well too. But I love that movie. I will always love that movie. The best part to me, the entire sequence outside of the two that I just said, the sequence with John Candy driving the car.
Oh yeah.
When he's playing the air saxophone and then you're going the wrong way. How does he know where we're going? He's drunk.
Yeah.
Thank you. That is comedy to me at its purest form.
Yep.
So yeah, and without getting in, so my 5 honorable mentions: Caddyshack, Simpsons Movie, Wayne's World, Fanboys, Home Alone. Fanboys, quick synopsis on Fanboys. It's about this guy. It's on your honorable mentions, right?
Yeah.
So Fanboys is the other one that we shared, and Wayne's World. Wayne's World, real quick, just SNL skit that became the movie.
Yeah, 2 rock and metal dudes.
It's the SNL skit, the movie, pretty much.
Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
It's Beavis and Butthead without a lot more of the sex jokes. Quickly, without getting into it, I feel like everybody knows Wayne's World. It's just about them.
We really don't have to describe the plot. I think everyone's seen it.
It's just about them choosing their SNL skit, making it big.
And
Lightning, favorite quote from the movie. Go. One of them.
God damn.
From both of them?
God, there's so many.
Yeah.
From both of them?
Just choose one.
There's so many good ones in the first one.
I want you to take me, Garth. Where?
That's the second
I'm low
one.
on gas and you need a jacket. Well, yeah, that's
it's hard for me to pick for Wayne's World.
Did you ever get turned on when Bugs Bunny dressed like a girl?
No.
Yeah, me either.
That's probably mine.
Yeah. There's too many. I don't have a favorite one.
That's just a good one.
And then Fanboys, real quick, is just about some Star Wars geeks who go to break into
the Skywalker Ranch.
Skywalker Ranch.
See an early copy of Phantom Menace.
Got cancer, and he's passing away, and they want to see Episode 1 before it's released.
Tons of Star Wars references.
Yep.
Really funny one-liners. It's completely slept on.
Seth Rogen plays 2 different characters.
My God. What do you think your favorite line in that movie is?
Probably shouldn't have called that cop.
Yeah, that
or there's Press Cam.
There's a really good Kevin Smith cameo in that. I
probably don't know mine.
You know what always makes me laugh is when Seth Rogen as the Star Trek guy Spock ggets run over or whatever. He goes, "Good."
Well, he's referencing Star Trek too because he's like, "Con."
Yeah.
So that's probably my favorite part because he's like, nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Yeah.
How do you say
You're gonna die a virgin in Klingon.
Shut my president.
We've got more Lucas sounds here to mock Roddenberry, and that that movie's great. Completely slept on. Adam Goldberg directed that movie, who the show The Goldbergs is based on, and not a lot of people know that. I really like The Goldbergs, one of the first couple seasons. And Home Alone. Now,
I mean, we can talk about this more once the season comes closer,
right,
but
which is why I haven't talked about it
it's
yet.
probably my favorite Christmas comedy, I'd say.
It's next to Christmas Story for me.
Yeah.
But Home Alone is something very near and dear to me. I will get into that around Christmas time.
Yep.
But Brody and I quote this movie all
Constantly.
the time. Constantly. I quoted it when we were talking about the French movie before this podcast.
Hiya, pal.
I mean,
We got strategy this
I don't
time.
even need to talk about it. Like,
Yeah. Everyone's seen it. Yeah. We can talk about it more on Christmas.
And we will. But there you go, man. That's mine. And just to make it lightning, you can skip the ones we already talked about.
Yeah, run through again. It's got Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. We did Grandma's Boy, Fanboys, Super Troopers and Jackass, American Pie, Clerks 2, The Beavis and Butthead, and Role Models.
Yep. So I'm just gonna run through my top 5 since we're a little past the time here right now. Other guys, it's basically just 2 cops that are desk jockeys basically, and shenanigans ensue. Hangover, everyone knows what the Hangover is about.
Yeah.
Wayne's World, we already talked about. Spaceballs, it's basically a parody of like everything science fiction at the time. Star Wars, Star Trek, Planet of the Apes, everything. Liar Liar, it's basically just this lawyer. Jim Carrey plays a lawyer who is a compulsive liar, but then like one time his kid makes a wish that he can't lie for one whole day, and he realizes that, and it just mayhem ensues.
Mayhem ensues.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, he's going nuts about it because it's just crazy that he can't lie. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
yep. Those
You
are my
guys
top
want to run
5.
through, I guess, your picks
Yeah,
and wrap
picks
up?
for the week. You go. I don't know.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I know mine.
Gen V wrapped up. So
What'd you think?
I haven't
haven't
watched
seen
the
it
last episode. The couple episodes I did watch have been fantastic. I talked about it before. Definitely check it out if you're a fan of the boys. And of course, my music recommendation is "The Gallo" by Paleface Swiss.
Wow. Brandon recommending Paleface on the
Who
podcast.
could have called that?
What else is new?
It came out on Halloween. It's got some nice clean vocals from Zelly, but it's got the same heavy breakdown, I want to annihilate everybody in this crowd type of beat towards the end that we all love Paleface for.
So I'll do mine. So I definitely want to start doing a movie and music thing because we're the movie and music and everything in between. So for my movie thing, I don't have any music this week, but I will say that this music topic that I have spitballing for soon is music that's been albums that have came out since you've been alive.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. God, that's going to be a big list.
So I've been listening to some stuff that were related to that for an idea. And actually, coming out this week, Hack the Movies is doing Fnaf.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Cool.
I'm sure that would...
Cool.
But
I might just actually watch the review.
Yeah. So it's worth one watch eventually. But the Boogie 2988 documentary that
Did you watch?
yes.
How was it?
And I think it's the sad life of Boogie 2988 or the downfall or something like that. Now, to get into it really quick, if you watch any other videos on my channel, I do talk about that I'm a fan of Boogie. I have been there through the ups and the downs so far. I've interacted with him a few times. I've been a fan since 2008. He's a really nice guy outside of everything else. I'm not going to get into everything else. That could be a video on itself that I've thought about making for a review for this show. Watch the trailer. The trailer has the most beautiful cover of Creep by Radiohead. It was a little underwhelming. Like, there were some things I definitely wish they would have gotten into more, but it was this young kid's first documentary.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's free on YouTube. It's super short. It's only an hour. But overall goes into the way that Boogie's struggling. Which it's up to you to interpret because it's non-biased. It's this guy that
has never really been into Boogie, and he gives this whole thing about it, and it was non-biased, which I thought was good. There's usually either people talking about how they dislike him or they like him,
Right.
and I think that's good. So yeah, definitely watch that if you are interested in Boogie or locales type stuff.
So my picks for the week, as far as music goes, you guys know how much I love my lists. Loudwire updated their lists of the top 11 metal albums of the 2000s.
Ooh.
I've
See,
gone through.
that could work with our topic that we
Yeah,
were talking about.
I've gone through 2 of them so far. So I've done Frail Words Collapse by As I Lay Dying, which is technically their first album.
That's a good album.
Jane Doe by Converge. That was like a big like influence on the metalcore scene, along with like Killswitch and everything.
Love Killswitch.
Right now I'm in the middle of, and I'm gonna be alone on this one, I'm in the middle of Leviathan by Mastodon. I know you guys aren't fans of them.
No.
I've grown to like them over the years. They're definitely an acquired taste in the metal scene. What else do we got on here? We got Waking the Fallen by Avenged Sevenfold. That's a
Nice.
classic. Follow the Reaper, Children of Bodom.
That's a good album.
Brave New World, Iron Maiden, which was Bruce Dickinson's first album back. Slipknot, Iowa, my favorite album by them. And then Toxicity by System of a Down, which is a classic all the way through. As far as like watching stuff goes, I actually Jared Dines did like a little reality show on his YouTube.
The Music Mansion?
Yeah, Musician Mansion, where he gets a bunch of like YouTubers, like some of the big names like Austin Dickey, Nick Nocturnal, some other people I haven't heard of.
See, I know nothing about the music side, music commentary, and
Right.
outside of Tom and
You would like Nick Nocturnal. I mean, he does a lot of meme stuff.
Fit McKenzie, is that his name?
Finn McKenty.
Yeah, you showed.
He's
me.
another one that's really cool.
I like his stuff. from what you showed me.
But it's really cool. At first, I wasn't too sold on it because it's very reality basedy.
Yeah.
But like the concepts are really cool. Like the first episode is literally the challenge is for the 3 groups of people to put together a band and come up with a song.
Oh,
and then the second one is like they make their music video and then so on and so forth, and they do challenges and stuff. And it was really cool. It was a really cool concept. Yeah. Jared Dines is trying to get the funds for a second season because he really wants to do it. He has a GoFundMe. I mean, shameless plug here, but he has a GoFundMe if you guys are interested in that. But yeah, it was a cool concept, and I discovered a lot of new YouTubers through that. So, Anthony Vincent was another guy too on there. He's the one that did the 10-second songs where he does like
where he's like
he does like 10 different styles of this song.
I used to watch that. I like his stuff.
Yeah,
like if Korn sung the Beatles.
Yeah,
I like that stuff.
But those are my picks for the week.
Don't you love it when people tell you, "Oh, wrestling's fake," and then tell you how much they love reality TV?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
It's so fantastic.
It's great.
Oh, do you watch movies?
Do you
watch anything?
Anything ever?
Do you watch entertainment?
Yeah.
Because
These are just athletes.
That could be a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
Other than that, thank you guys for listening. Oh, no, I forgot real quick. We're going to read off the Facebook post.
Oh, right. We can read them off real quick.
So I will do that real quick.
Okay.
I almost forgot. So
how dare you?
I know.
I quit.